Moving on, Kenya has made significant political, structural and economic reforms that have largely driven sustained economic growth, social development and political gains over the past decade. However, its key development challenges still include poverty, inequality, climate change, continued weak private sector investment and the vulnerability of the economy to internal and external shocks. The COVID-19 pandemic is making Kenya's economy nosedive. Our business reporter Clifford Ndubi takes us through the economics perspective year 2020.
I feel pained that is where we are at this point in time.
It is the harsh reality we are facing of a once vibrant economy that, according to the World Bank, was one of the fastest growing in the sub-Saharan Africa at 5.7% between 2015 and 2019. But in 2020, it has contracted by 1%, mainly due to the unseen enemy every corner of the globe is fighting, the coronavirus. Kenya now staring to cross into the new year as the economy heads into a recession.
We are likely to see a GDP of either negative or even at the very best maybe about 1% growth, which tells you that we are not doing well at all. We have suffered seriously. So if we are not careful, we could actually move into that kind of situation.
Further to the fears arrayed by Musalia Mudavadi, another elephant in the room is the ever-growing debts that are outweighing the balance between government's operations and reservicing the external debts. In financial year 2020-2021, the government intends to borrow a total of 569.4 billion, where 247.3 of these will be from external debts that signal a 30% drop from the borrowing experienced in financial year 2019-2020, which was a 318.9 billion. In 2013, when the Jubilee government came into power, the development blueprint they had was the main source of the large appetite they had of borrowing. According to Musalia Mudavadi, the ball lies squarely at the president's feet and is to blame for this weak economy where there were no resources that would go in handy in aiding his developmental plan.
They were promising they would do this, they were promising the dams, they were promising they would do this. So they made so many promises. Commitments were made. But the resources to fulfill those commitments were not there.
In a country where unending political supremacy battles are a cup of tea, with the economy on its knees, politicians have been on the receiving end for prioritizing their ambitions instead of finding a way of fixing the economy fast, which has been shaken by the COVID-19 to the core. The Kenyan economy heavily relies on importing rather than exporting. According to statistics by the World Integrated Trade Systems, Kenya exports have a 13.1% growth on the GDP compared to 23.01% of the imports to the GDP, meaning that we are not a production economy but a consuming one. In one way or another, the impact is being felt where local materials cannot be fully utilized to spur our economy. While some view COVID-19 as a blessing in disguise for our economy, through the need of realization that indeed Kenya can become a production country, therefore opening up opportunities for the youth, time has come for the government to lay a plan on making Kenya an industrial hub.
Strong drive for our production, our industries. Look, for what COVID has done, I think COVID was a wake-up call for Kenyan economy, particularly the African continent, that look, we've been over and over decades and decades taken a position of imports, that we are net importers. Everything is import. There isn't any that is not important. Because if we were to go to the election period of 2022 in a similar circumstances, you know, I see people saying that the fact that we're discussing a referendum is a necessary cost. When I ask people, is we did a rerun for a presidential campaign in 2017, not so long ago. Where are people forgetting that that re-election alone cost us 12 billion? So really, when we say that let's not get involved.
Summing up all these challenges facing our economy, and Treasury CS Ukur Yatani coming out clear and raising the alarm that all is not well. There is a likelihood of mass job layoffs come next year. This will add more burden to the government, where revenue collection has been affected immensely, which came as a result of over 2 million people losing their jobs due to the pandemic. Leaders are of the opinion that the only way out to rescue the economy is loans renegotiation.
We need to figure out, as we talk, what do we do with that big debt in the light of a depreciating shilling? We have to quickly start talking to our creditors for renegotiation and rescheduling and restructuring of our debt. If we don't, then we come across painful situations.
Now, putting into perspective on the best measures to recover economically, Kenya needs policymakers and policy implementers who will pinpoint the gaps in the economic development of the country in order to ensure that there is an increase in revenue collection. In Kenya, ICT currently adds 2% to the GDP against a targeted 10% contribution, a backdrop largely attributed to the underdevelopment of ecosystem for creation of local content, an industry which has the potential of employing over 200,000 youths. According to statistics by the Ministry of Information, Communication and Technology, online workers stand at only 677,961,000, a number that can increase if there can be a good broadband connectivity alongside closing the skills gap. The Kenya Revenue Authority announced that they will tax online businesses in its bid to increase revenue collection.
We look at our universities, and we've been on this conversation for long that it's high time we stopped teaching programs that are adding no value. Right now, we are highly a digital economy. The world is highly digitized. So we should be seeing like ICT in Kenya is almost overtaking tourism and coffee and tea. If you're talking about, if you look at the M-Pesa economy, which is clearly a digital economy, there should be a correlation with the development.
For the president, the ball is in his court to ensure that there is an economic equilibrium balance to protect the gains Kenya has made so far. Clifford Ndubi, Switch TV.
Thank you, Clifford Ndubi. Well, with our story, we now take a short commercial break. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more.